Hello guys, so in this video we're going to look about API gateway authorization by using the OAuth client credentials. So here initially we're going to create one Lambda function and then API gateway. So initially the API gateway will be open API gateway so that anyone can hit your API, so that we need to secure your API by using the authorization. I'm going to explain each and every steps here. So for the API gateway authorization we are going to use a Cognito and then client credentials. So there are three types of OAuth security. Yeah. So first one is basically in this link I share in the descriptions. This is the article about AWS API authorization types. So authorization grant code. So this is something we need to based on the client credentials. By using the username password we can get the token. By using the token we can get the access token. So we are not going to discuss about that. Implicit grant is something when you request with credentials like a username password, it will give you directly the access token. So this is the type of this two type is basically when you hit from the front end, but there is another type called client credentials. Client credentials is basically you want to do the machine to machine communications. So let's say you have API HTTP API server and you have some API gateway. So you want to communicate, create a communication between this API gateway and to your HTTP server. So that's called basically mission to mission. So for that we don't have any Cognito user credentials. So we need to make secure communications between the mission to mission. So for that purpose we are going to use these client credentials options, which is provided in the OAuth generally. So let me create. So I'm going to follow the same step. Let me create a Lambda function and API gateway. So this tutorial is not about creating a Lambda function as API gateway. There are a lot of other videos. You can see that videos as well in YouTube. Maybe here I'm going to create quickly. I'm going to not explain much about this one. Okay. So first what we are going to here, we are using the client credentials. So from the OAuth token, so we need to create one token by using the client ID and the secret client ID, so that the Cognito will give you the access token. By using the access token, third step, you can hit the resource server, which here the resource server is something like API gateway. So this resource server will again validate with that Cognito whether the access token is valid or not. If it is valid, it allowed to use your resource. I'll just recreate the same picture here. Okay, so from your HTTP, first you need to get a access token from the Cognito. So once you receive the Cognito, by using that access token you can call your API gateway. This API gateway will verify our access token with the Cognito. If it is valid, then it allows to use the Lambda. Lambda is, you know that Lambda is basically AWS Lambda functions. We can access any other resource, API resource, sorry, AWS resource. So you can access the DynamoDB. Let me create one Lambda function quickly. I'm going to call it as sample 1. It will take few seconds to create. Okay, now our Lambda function is ready. As I earlier mentioned, I'm not going to explain what about this Lambda function and everything. You can watch another video. So this is basically a simple Lambda function is returning hello from Lambda. Okay, this is the Lambda functions we have. We need to add a trigger function, maybe a API trigger to trigger the Lambda. So for that, I'm going to create one AWS API. Sample API. So I'm going to keep it as a default deploy. Let me create one API. So this is the URL for invoke URL for your API. So here you can see the list of routes. So for routes, I'm going to call it as sample 1. Going to create one route. Okay, this is the route we have. So here you can see the add authorizer. This is the function this is the authorizer we are going to add in this video. I'm going to show you that in a moment. This is basically integration. So I'm just going to integrate my Lambda function and with the API gateway. You can see the Lambda here. I think this is automatic deployed. Let me go to this. My Lambda function verify. Okay, now API gateway is added. So whenever user call the API gateway, the Lambda function will trigger. So we need to use this invoke URL in a moment. Okay, what is the next step? So next step is create a Cognito user pool. So let me go here and click on user pool. Let me call it as sample 1 with the default options. Let me create a create pool. Okay, now you can see the pool ID and the ARN. Here you need to go to app client. So app client is list of clients you are providing the access to access your user pool. Let's say if you are creating this user pool from the Amplify will defaultly create some app clients. So you don't need to use that one. Create a new app client with sample, maybe I call it as sample app client. Yeah, if I keep it as default options, and you can see the app client ID and app secret client ID. So this is the required one, and I'm going to here app client settings. So here I'm providing the going to provide the client credentials for this app client. Let me enable this. This is going to enable the identify provider and then client credentials. Before I enable the client credentials, I need to create some domain first of all to hit. Let me check the availability. Okay, domain is available now. I'll save that as well and then open this resource. So resource server is basically you need this to get authenticate. API auth and the API auth identifier. You can put any name here, does not matter. And I'm going to provide some scope level. Scope level is basically we need that to what purpose we are using this Cognito. So I just provided that JSON.read and JSON.read space. So you can provide any scope. I'll explain you what is the use of this scope. Okay, so you can see it here. Whatever the scope we have created, we can see it here. So let me enable this and client credentials and enable the all out custom scope and click on save change. So what is next step? We add the OAuth domain name everything, add authorization in API gateway scope. Yeah, so let me go to API gateway and then click on root. Okay, here we need to attach our authorizer. So now we are created the Cognito user pool, everything. Now we need to create a communication between the Cognito and the API gateway. So let me create an authorizer, create our authorizer. Let me call it as API Authorizer, and name should be a same. I mean identity source, request.header .authorization. You can provide your authorization token in a header or else a queries thing. You can pass in the URL as well, or else keep it in the header. I'm going to keep it in the header, so I'm using the request header authorization. If you want to queries thing, just replace this header to the queries thing, and then invoke URL. Invoke URL is the important one. So I'll show you. Let me go to the okay. Going to pass this. All right. So issuer URL is nothing but Cognito IDP identity provider something, and then your region. So this is a generic one, and you need to append your client ID, user pool client ID. Let me go back and get my user pool client ID. Yeah, sorry, user pool ID, not a client ID. And API gateway. Okay, this is the invoke URL. So the API gateway will validate your authorization with this URL, and who is the client, or who is the audience. Audience is nothing but your app client ID. So if you go back to the setting, you can see the app client ID. App client ID is the one for audience. Okay, let me create. Okay, I just want to verify authorization. I'm going to provide access token in the header authorization, and this is going to be invoke URL and then audience. Okay, API authorizer is ready. I'm going to root and attach my authorizer, API authorizer, and attach it. Okay, I can see the JWT here. Yeah, this authorization scope is important. Here we need to add a scope, whatever we had it here. The custom scopes created when we create the resource server, right? So you can see the custom scope, and then come back and add the scope here. That's it. Now you can see I have one root and then authorization. Okay, I have done with the API gateway. So whatever we added here, authorization, sure, audience, that's it. So what is the next step? Okay, we need to create a client ID. Yeah, so I'm going to follow whatever they provided in this article. To make the machine to machine authorization, we need to follow this URL. So URL is nothing but our auth domain, and then scope OAuth2, and then token. We need to provide this as HTTP parameter, and then basic 64 value of client ID and secret client ID in the header. Okay, let me copy this. I'm going to go to the Postman. Okay, and the Lambda. Okay, I'm going to create one URL. What is this? I'm going to wait on post. So initially I'm going to the URL here. So this is the URL to hit our Cognito. Let me paste it here. Oops, I'm not going to do that. Okay, this is our URL. Copy and pasted here under OAuth2/token. Okay, this is the URL, and then we need to add some parameter what they provided here. It's a grant type, right? I'm going to do the grant type. Grant type should be client credentials. And then client ID. So client ID is the user pool app client ID. What else we have? Scope. Okay. Scope is nothing but whatever your custom scope you have created here. Okay. So and then I need to add base 64 of client ID colon client secret. So basically we need to generate this base 64. Let me go back. I need to use the client ID and client secret ID. Okay, I'm just using the online editor. Basically when you do it from program, you can do it from your code. So we cannot believe our online editors. Okay, app and app client ID. Okay, so okay, this is the way we need to generate our base 64. This is one of the option in JavaScript. I just put the client ID, app client ID and app secret client ID as they mentioned here, and then creating a base 64 string. So if I execute, let me make sure that I don't have any space here. Sometimes I miss the space. Okay, I got it. So I got what I want. Base space base 64. I'm going to post this in the header. Okay, header name is authorization again. Okay, let me save this. We have any other? Okay, we need to provide this content type as well. Content type, yes. Let me save this. Okay, so I'm currently going to hit. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's it. We got access token. The first part is done. Here, let me show you. Let me create one pass here and explain you what is happening here. So from our HTTP request, so I'm going to hit a Cognito with that base 64 client encrypted ID, and then with the grant type and what else, scope level, and then client ID. By using that, I just hit the Cognito. Cognito return me back that access token. By using the access token, we need to hit the API gateway, right? So let me create another one. That should be the next step here. Yes, using the another request. Okay, so this is very core part of this video. Let me create another one. Okay, this is will be a get dot post, does not matter because I keep the root as any. Okay, so now I'm going to invoke my API. So let me go to API gateway and call this invoke URL, and I'm going to postman, I keep it here. That's it. So from the okay, in the header I need to keep the authorization, and then whatever we got it here, the access token, just copy that and keep it here. This is valid for 300 and 3600 seconds. Okay, API gateway, it should be okay, application of JSON. Content type, to close the older one. Let me save this as well. Okay, so now I'm meeting that URL API gateway with the header as authorization. Let me try now. Okay, message not found. Let me verify the what issues happened. Let me pause the video. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I missed the root. So invoke URL slash whatever we route in the API gateway. Let me hit. Okay, I got it. Hello from Lambda. Just to verify it is coming from our Lambda. Let me call it or YouTube. Let me save this one, and then let me go back to my Postman. Let me send it again. Yes, I got it. Our exact Lambda is Authorizer. Okay, now I just give you the overview what happened exactly. So initially from our HTTP request, we just hit the Cognito. Okay, this is our hit to the Cognito based on the user pool, and then whatever that parameter they mentioned, grant type, client area, and scope. By using that, we first initially hit the Cognito, and then we got the access token. In here we won't get any ID token or refresh token. Since it is a machine to machine communication, we only get the access token. In the header, we keep the authorization with the basic space, basic 64 string. This is basically generated from client ID and secret client ID. And then here another request, we hit the API gateway with the authorization header. So whatever we got, this is the invoke URL and route for our API gateway, and the header is authorization, and then we keep that token, access token here, and we hit the API gateway. API gateway is successfully validated, and it's invoked Lambda. So Lambda executed the code. So this is basically this is the way to authorize our API gateway securely to make the client machine to machine communication by using the client credentials in AWS.